15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis, and the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here, now your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. Really excited for today's episode, a little brunch episode on a game day. That is rare for us here at Nickel City Crew, but I'm really excited to get at you guys and to get our thoughts out before the game starts. It's funny because I named the episode the way that I did because of the fact that this opponent has been sort of a bugaboo for the Bills. And, this quarterback specifically has seemed to have all the answers when it comes to facing the defense for Sean McDermott. So we'll see how it goes today. Let's get our thoughts out there real quick while we're tailgating and such. Joining me today, as always, my co-host, Riding Shotgun, Adam Dumptruck Rupsick. Check him out on Instagram and Twitter at Adam Rupsick, RUPCZYK. Holla at the crew, DT. What's good, man? Happy game day, man. This is rare. We're going live on a game day.
Nickel City, what's up? Game day. Rob, how we doing? Here, beautiful Sunday, week 14 already, and a big one. Excuse me, a big one. 1 p.m. Eastern at the Ralph. A few more left in that stadium, and this one's going to be huge. So happy to be here on game day. Get your brunch, get your mimosas. If you're at the tailgate, get down. So we're about to get into it. Let's go. Game day.
All right. It is game day. I'm excited about it as well because of the fact that, I have lamented, some of the roller coasters that this Buffalo Bills 2025 team has been on. But to be honest with you, I told you last week, I'm just going to approach this with, hey, everything's in front of us. Maybe not the 1 seed anymore. Probably the division, but get Josh Allen into the playoffs. I'm down to see how it goes. And I'm ready for it. Now, DT, I named the episode the way that I did because, Joe Burrow is kind of a bugaboo for this Buffalo Bills team. He's undefeated against the Bills. We haven't played him that much, obviously 2 games and a quarter with the DeMar Hamlin game being canceled. But DT, he's had the answers. This is a quarterback that plays a lot. You hear that comparison. He plays a lot like 12, plays a lot like Brady, classic pocket quarterback. He can extend plays a little bit, but he's going to sit there in the pocket. He's going to sling that thing, and boy, does he have a couple weapons that are truly elite to throw to.
Yeah, I mean, he's precision. Cool, Joey Cool, right? Joey Burr, like get the chill dude. And of course, he's got to be back against the Bills. Been out all season, and he's, of course, getting healthy the week before, a little warm-up game last week against the Ravens, ready to go. And you said it, very composed back there, gets the ball out quick, and a couple badass weapons to throw it to. I mean, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are better than anything Tom Brady ever had. So it's a scary combo. It's a scary combo, and they've proven they can beat us in Cincinnati. They've proven they can beat us in Buffalo. It's a tough squad, but we're in a must-win situation right now. So it's going to be an interesting day. Definitely somebody you need to be concerned about in number 9. We can hope he's still a little rusty, and the boy is made of glass, and hopefully this cool weather makes him feel it today at 1 o'clock.
He's made of glass. I like it. Yeah, I mean, he's got some weapons, and I think that's, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about before we get out of here. I know this is going to be a quick episode, but I wanted to get your gauge on what kind of game you think this is going to be, because from my perspective, I think that it could either be a shootout, in which case, Burrow's got the answers and he's putting up points. And then the Bills are going to be forced to keep up on offense. You know what I mean? It won't be a situation where I think that they could just grind the clock. Now, they might take that approach. And you remember, I think it was during the COVID year, DT, where we played KC and we invited them to run. And we just said, we don't want Mahomes to beat us. So we just let the running backs just get their yards. And they're popping off 6-7 yards a carry. And we still almost, we almost won the game. We lost eventually. But do you think the Bills will approach this offensive, game plan as just go at it with James Cook and just feed him and feed him and feed him? I mean, this defense is historically bad. They're bad against the pass. They're bad against the run. So you really should have your way either way, whatever way Joe Brady wants to attack it. But I feel like if you get into a shootout with these guys, you might come up on the wrong end. So I don't know necessarily if I want to invite Joe Burrow to kind of be throwing that ball around. I know that the pass rush is limited because of all the injuries on the defensive line, but I want to find a way to limit his opportunities. And if that means Chase Brown goes off or, grabs a whole bunch of yards, then I think I would rather have that than seeing, Higgins and Chase go off of me. I don't think that's a good recipe.
Well, sure, but I'm conflicted I don't know how to answer that question, right? Because this team has kind of shown you everything this year. Yeah, last week we run the same play 30 times and run for 260 yards. And, of course, I feel like we're going to go back to that because that's what's working offensively for us. That will help bleed the clock. But also, you see this team at home go up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a few weeks ago, and it turns into a shootout because, Baker Mayfield, they got some weapons. They can move the ball. We miraculously found a downfield passing game, and it turned into a shootout in that situation. So I really don't know what the Bills are going to do today. I think we are going to start off with that run game. It's something that is the most consistent of this offense for the entire year, and coming off a huge performance last week in Pittsburgh where rushing defense is a lot better than the rushing defense we're going to see today. So I think
that's true.
The run game will be established. We'll try to pump that in. And I don't necessarily think it's to slow it down and limit possessions of Joe Burrow, but we definitely don't want him getting warmed up. So if I had to pick one, I would say we're slowing it down a little. But then this team, you never know, because then you have that Bucs game and they come out and, we're putting up 44 points. So yeah. I really don't know what we're going to see today. I would like to see us get downfield, get Josh Allen and his swagger back a little in the home crowd. It seems like that's the big difference this year, home and away. We're not turning the ball over at home. We're scoring touchdowns at home. Away, we're turning the ball over and not scoring touchdowns. So it's all set up. I would like to see a high-scoring game and prove we can beat in a shootout, but I think it's going to be a little slower, like you said. Why would we go away from a great run game that had 260 yards on the ground last week?
Yeah, I mean, they really did. 249 yards. They said that was the most that Pittsburgh has given up throughout the Mike Tomlin era. They trashed them all day. And yes, you're absolutely right. Brady hit that spam button and just kept pressing it like Madden and just kept running the same, couple plays duo and such things. So it'll be interesting because, James, I love James Cook. So, I know that I feel like he's capable. The weather might play a factor, DT. I see that it's, the snow flurries. I'm watching on pre-games and stuff like that, and they're showing Buffalo live views and in Orchard Park, and it's snowing. It might feel a little bit like that playoff game that you and I were at, which obviously we wish that went differently. But that night it was, snowy, light snow. We always talked about that whole fiasco with the footing and the cleats and how can Cincinnati have good footing and we can't have good footing and whatever. But it was just mostly just excuses making at that point in time. But that game, it was quick. It was Joe Burrow right down the field, touchdown. And then all of a sudden you're down 14 and you're playing catch up in a playoff game. Now, obviously, this is not a playoff game, but it's got that heightened awareness to it. Obviously, if Cincinnati wants anything to do with the playoffs, as remote as their chances are, they've got to win. They've got to win out pretty much. For us, we can't continue to lose games because we're going to fall behind even further in that schmozzle of that AFC wild card. So for me, everybody's awareness should be heightened for today. DT is my main point. That there should be no slip ups in respects to today's matchup and the opponent. Now, for me personally, DT, and you could speak to it, I don't disrespect this team. 4-8 is because of the fact that Burrow was out. I heard a lot of talk on WGR about this could be a bad loss and this and that. Like, I don't really subscribe to that. This is a good team that lost their quarterback. You take your quarterback away from any team and you're gonna struggle. That's around the NFL itself. So for me, I see this as a almost a litmus test. Like if the Bengals had Burrow all year, they might be neck and neck with us. You know what I mean? Or even better, they might be leading that division in a landslide, kind of like New England is a couple games up on us. So for me, don't take this opponent lightly. Don't let the record get into your head where you think that you could just take over this team because they've got a crappy defense. I think that it's a situation where everybody needs to be focused. I don't know what you're going to get from Kincaid. I don't even know if he's going to play, but if he does, he'll be limited. The pass rush, we already just talked about. The defensive line is going to be missing Bosa and others as well. AJ Epinesa, who knows what capacity he's going to play in. Find a way to not let this team gain any confidence. Their defense is horrible. I would like to see us jump out on them the way that Cincinnati jumped out on us in that playoff game. Get after them quickly and find a way to dishearten them. I don't know any other way to say it. Get on those guys, because last week, that game that they played against Baltimore was not that same defense that we've seen all year long. They forced turnovers. That helped them out with the Ravens, but this defense is shitty, DT. We know that they are not good, so don't even give them any type of confidence.
Yeah, and the only thing they had on that defense, Trey Hendrickson, and he's out, right? So I think there's enough material to get up for this game if you're the Buffalo Bills and the organization. I mean, this is a situation of, you said, the Bugaboo, the history, the game we were supposed, on that 13-3 season, the DeMar Hamlin, they come in and beat the shit out of us in the playoffs. We lose in that Monday night game. It just seems like they're a tough team to get by. So I think that is our material. You have the bulletin board material. They punch you in the mouth in that playoff game. They're back to the scene of the crime right now in somewhat of a must win. You can't take them lightly at all. That is the only reason they weren't winning games, is because Joe Burrow was out. He has won every start dating back to last year when he's been in the game, when they went on that crazy run to end the year. They went on the crazy run to end the year, and then they started off 2-0. So it's too much material to ever think you could take this team lightly. The record doesn't matter at all in my eyes of who we're playing. We're playing the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and it's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I think that bulletin board material is enough to get this organization up, is enough to get Josh up. It's a little embarrassing this year. Your MVP coming in, you turn the ball over a little bit. There's a lot of words out there. You come out, you take care of Joe Burrow and the boys and say, all right, we're back. Let's do the thing. So I completely agree. Up early often. We're not in a team year other than week 1 against the Ravens, not really a team built to come back from these big, deficits. And we've kind of shown that. So the Miami game, a few weeks back, they got up 14 and we really couldn't even get back into that game. So I don't think we can take it lightly. I don't think the team is. There's enough material to really buckle in and take this seriously. 4-8 means nothing. It's the Cincinnati Bengals that, if they had Joe Burrow, we'd be even more of a screwed situation right now, because this is more of a must win, because they would be in the playoff picture and it's another team that would be out. So got to take it as such.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that everybody should be locked in and focused regardless of record, because this team can hurt you on offense specifically. Now, as we transition, shout out to the chat room. Listen, we appreciate you. My boy Lou is out there. My boy Zach is out there. Happy birthday to Danielle Martin out there. Listen, we appreciate you guys. I'm always chiming in as well. I see my boy Noah out there. Noah, he's holding it down. And then Kenny said that he's holding us down, DT, from the grass lot. Yep. So you're not at the game today. Obviously, I'm here in Charlotte. So we appreciate Kenny and our boys, man. Big Ben, shout out to all those guys there in the grass lot. We love you guys. We miss you guys for sure. And hopefully we will see you guys in the playoffs somehow, some way. DT, I'm starting to get nervous. I'm starting to think like, man, do I need to come up for this Jets game? Do I it's funny because I was just getting asked about that the other day, and they were like, Bobby and Nate's mom was like, well, do you want to take him for an early, Christmas present or something like that? And I'm like, I am trying to hold out hope for some type of playoff game. So it was really funny because DT, I don't know, man, maybe me and you need to get up before this season is over, because what is it? I think the scenario now is New England must lose to us, obviously, and then they have to lose one of two to the Jets or the Dolphins in order for us to take the division. And I don't know how likely that is.
They got Ravens too.
Right, Ravens as well. But like if we take care of business, then you're back a game and a half back. And then again, obviously, if they can lose to either the Jets or the Dolphins, then you can grab the division. I don't know how likely that is. Can you maybe put your 2 cents on it before?
And of course, they're on a bye this week. To get ready. I was talking to my friends this week, and it was just like, doesn't it seem like when the Bills, we never catch a break with other teams and their health and whatnot? Like, of course, of course, Joe Burrow is back and feeling good. T. Higgins literally looked like he was dead on the field a few weeks ago on that concussion.
Yeah.
And the dude is back, ready to go full gore. It's not even, hey, we're playing the Bills today. I'm not hurt. As I'm the best I've ever felt today, playing the Buffalo Bills. And then you got the Patriots going into their bye, coming in to see us in a must-win game after a bye, after rattling off 11 straight wins. You know, it's a tall task. It's a tough task. Odds makers say, Rob, you better get up for that Jets game because that home playoff game just ain't looking like it. But you never know. We've been in a spot where we're 6-6, rattled off, won the division in week 18 to get the 2 seed of the whole dance. It's a year where they're talking the 5th seed might be one to host a game, depending on, you know, if 1 through 4 fall and in the realignment and reseeding. So I'm back in a very simple look, 1-0 each week, 1-0 every week. I'm not getting all the way in, but odds makers say you got to come up for the Jets game, Rob. That's kind of where we stand. Where crazier things have happened, but you know, you might be seeing the red helmets, Rob.
Yeah, it's funny because I was trying to map it out like you said, and I was like, well, maybe by the Eagles game we'll have a real idea. And I think that that's safe, that by the Eagles game we'll have an idea of where we're at and where we stand. So we'll see how that goes. Now, as we transition, today's episode, this brunch on Sunday. Y'all heard the little promo on Instagram. I love my boy Nas. I love that song, Brunch on Sundays. Listen, we are presented by Queen City Vintage. Check out Queen City Vintage. Our boy Nick and Kai, they are running a great storefront. It's on Elmwood, right across from 40 Thieves. Check out Queen City Vintage. They've got all the drip, all the nostalgic vintage gear, Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres, Buffalo City themed t-shirts and jackets and hats and all the other stuff. I'm actually sporting a shirt today that I got it gifted to me when they came down to Charlotte with the Ralph. So listen, check our boys out at Queen City Vintage. You will not be mad that you did. They've got all of the latest gear and great vintage gear that you need to get your hands on. Now, DT, as we transition and we begin to wrap up, because I know this is a short episode and I want to let you get on the road back home. I look at the AFC. I took the time last week and I listened back to our episode last week to see if I sounded too optimistic or what it was. And, the meeting that we had on, my boy Sheen and Sheen, was kind of humbling us and
Grim Reaper.
But it's funny because I'm often known as, somebody that's a pessimist and stuff like that. And I always bristle at that because I'm not a pessimist. I like to be a realist and I like to look at the things in totality and really give myself a realistic opinion. DT, I thought he was a little bit harsh after I was listening back to it, but I thought in conjunction, you were a little bit rose-colored. As we look at the AFC now, ahead of these games, a lot can change by tonight, DT. I mean, KC could be done. First of all, KC could be done. And I know that technically they say the Bills fans, Bills Mafia, we should root for KC because you don't want Houston to win that division because at that point in time, depending on the matchups, you might have to go back to Houston. And I agree. I don't want to go back to Houston. I don't want to see them anymore. I feel different about Baltimore now, DT, than I did. I always told you they were the scariest team for me with Derrick Henry. He's now starting to look a little bit old, DT. He doesn't look the same. After that game against us, he hasn't really hit his gear and hit his stride. It looks like that age and father time might be actually catching up to him. DT, I stand firm on my position last week that the conference doesn't scare me. Denver, great defense, yes, and I can give them that. They've got a great defense. Bo Nix doesn't scare me. Conversely, the Colts are changing right before our eyes. Like what we talking about the Colts and they've got all these wins and then all of a sudden they start to lose games. Now you've got Daniel Jones on one leg with a fractured, tibia that he's playing through or fibula, whatever it is. Things are looking different. And I'm always going to be scared of JT. DT, I don't know, man. I listened back to last week's episode and I'm going to stand firm. I feel like the conference is wide open enough that you get Josh Allen a ticket. I don't care if it's 5, 6, 7 seed. He can do some damage. Now, obviously, you would prefer to have the 5 seed, but I don't know if it really much matters. It would be depending on matchups, and I don't know if there's a matchup that I'm shaking in my boots. I just can't say it right now. I really can't.
I'd agree. I'd agree, and you know, and I will say I was definitely a little rosed up last week because I had to defend the boys. I had to defend the honor. I had to, you know, we're not giving up. I will never give up. I will never give up when 17's our quarterback. I won't. It's just not possible. And I said that last week. Now stand by that. But the thing with this AFC playoff picture, Rob, is, you know, we are in our bubble, the Buffalo Bills bubble. We're looking at our seating, our situation. Are we getting a home game? Are we not? Are we making like we're so involved in us, in our bubble, and that's great because we are the fanatics we are. But the whole rest of the AFC is doing the same thing. There's a lot of cannibalization that can happen out here, Rob. The divisional games coming down the stretch mean a lot, you know, in these seedings. As you see, obviously it's not a divisional game tonight, but the Chiefs, Texans are playing. The Colts got to play the Jaguars, and then they got to play the Texans again. They're all kind of playing each other and winning and losing, and I think there's going to be a big logjam of these 6-loss teams, you know, kind of everywhere in that. So I am not afraid of anybody. I would do anything but play the Chiefs still. You know, that's never going to change when it comes to the playoffs. We've shown we can beat Baltimore, even though Derrick Henry looking a little old. They're a tough roster, and they might be peaking, you know, later if they get going against Pittsburgh today and rattle off a few at the end of the year, win that division. They're in something.
Weird, but we'll see.
But I don't want to play the Chiefs, Rob. I'll do anything but play the Chiefs, and that's just straight up, you know, the horror we went through in the playoffs. I can't do that again. If they're out, I will say I like us against anybody in this picture. It's going to get moved around. You know, that right. Denver still got to play the Chiefs and the Packers and the Chargers. Like, there's a lot of matchups coming up on all these teams' schedule that are ahead of us and behind us that are going to, cool. kind of jumble everything up. So door is open. I'm not afraid of anybody but the Chiefs in the playoffs. And I think, you know, that's what we have to go with. Let it all shake out. Every week is going to be, it's kind of been a different picture. Every Sunday in the beginning compared to every Sunday in the afternoon, it's been a different picture. But the Bills have been somewhat consistent in that line. So we're going to hope we stay in that consistently level, kind of creep up as these teams cannibalize each other. Not scared of anybody in the playoffs. Don't want to see 15 in the boys.
Yeah, no, I understand why you say that for sure. You know, nobody really wants to see him, and I agree with that. You know, shout out Bobby Hansen. We love you guys over there at I-86 Network. Listen, I mean, if you need to see the standings, you can. Now, DT is absolutely right, though. It is going to change, and it's going to continue to be fluid. The Bills are sitting in that 7 spot. Now you've got Indy in the 6 spot, and then the Chargers are actually at 8-4 as well in the 5 spot. The division winners so far, New England, Denver, Jacksonville, and Baltimore. But again, that's all fluid, big games, big matchups. A lot of teams have not even played some of the division matchups. You know, we've got 2 games between Baltimore and Pittsburgh down the stretch and stuff like that. So we're going to see how things stretch out. I think that I'm most nervous, DT, about another slip up. And let me explain it. And it could come today or whatever the case may be. Another slip up, what that does is Houston right on your ass. Pittsburgh, you've got tiebreaker over Pittsburgh and Kansas City. However, we don't know what that final loss column is going to be for the 7 seed. So it could be 7 losses. It could be 6 losses, whatever the case may be. I'm trying to gain as much cushion as I can have where I don't even have to worry about it come the Eagles game and obviously the Jets game at the end of the year, those last 2 games. I want to find a way to win this game today, DT. You win this game, and then obviously the season is really at its apex next week in Foxborough against the Patriots. And then after that, you find a way. I mean, you've got Cleveland, Philly, and the Jets to end the year. I don't mind any of those matchups, especially Philly with the way that their offense has been so Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I want to find a way to not have any more slip-ups. If there's a game that you're supposed to lose, then I guess technically it could be next week. But today, don't lose this game. I wouldn't consider it a bad loss, but don't lose this game. Don't lose to Cleveland. Don't lose to Philly. You know, don't lose those games where you've got to find a way to just go in, take care of your business, because the margin for error could be, I don't think the Bills are going to miss the playoffs by any stretch, but I don't want to see it where we're literally, we got to beat the Jets. We'll crush them in week 18, and then we're asking for somebody else's help. I thought those days were over when we got Josh Allen behind center, and it's kind of weird to be in the situation where one more slip up, and all of a sudden you could be looking for somebody else to help you out down the stretch, and I don't want that.
Yeah, we don't need a New Year's Eve watching the Bengals convert a 4th and 27 to get us in the playoffs again. So
Hell no.
I agree 100%. And if this game, like I said, record doesn't mean anything. It's a choice at this point. We made the choice. We paid the price already. We had the bad loss to the Dolphins. We had the bad loss to the Atlanta Falcons. I'll give them the Patriots loss. I'll give them the Houston loss of, you got beat. But the other two just BS losses, you've made the choice and you lost those 2 games. You can't have another slip up. This would be considered a slip up. Don't matter what the situation is. Don't matter if the Bengals were a better record or anything. This is considered a slip up if you lose this game, and we don't have any more to use. We've already made our choices and done that. So I think that's kind of got to be the mentality today. Like, yes, it wasn't a choice to lose those games, but let's treat it like a choice. And now our choice is we can't slip up today because we've already paid our price. We've already had our fun. We already did our BS losing. No more room for that. So I'd agree, don't matter the opponent today, no matter what the opponent was today, we can't afford it because, yes, we cannot have help to get in and anything like that. It's too tight to rely on others. You got to create your own destiny. We're in a good spot to do that. But, yeah, it can't be a slip up. We made the choice to slip up. The choice today is not.
I like that. As we begin to wrap up tonight, this morning, DT, I wanted to get to one more thing with you, and it's interesting because when I looked at the conference and stuff like that, and we talked about it, I'm trying to figure out a path to Santa Clara still, and I know that drives some people on Twitter crazy and stuff like that in my spaces, and those guys get mad at me because they're like, this team is just not, a lot of guys like Sheed, like, this team is just not built that way. Here's what I took from last week's game. I saw the Bills spam it, run at will. Now, and against a decent defense, or whatever the case may be, they're high priced, but they've been a little bit underachieving. I've seen them all year run the ball when they wanted to, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, they've been able to run the ball. There's been very few games where we tried to run it and we were just shut down. Conversely, we haven't been able to pass the ball every single time that we wanted to. Now, there were games that they didn't ask them to, like, Joe Brady says, I should have passed the ball more against Miami. You know what I mean? He admitted that. Last week they didn't need it against Pittsburgh because the running game was so effective. But, we've seen games like, the Baltimore Ravens, and we show up and we pass the ball when we need to. We saw the same thing with the Bucks. I want to know your confidence level in, if we need it, do we trust it with Joe Brady leading this offense? And I'm talking specifically about throwing the ball. Now, that may not be today, weather, yada, yada, yada. I know that it's getting late in the season, and that's when the run game is at a premium. So I get all that. But if you do get in a situation where you are in a shootout, what is your confidence level that Joe Brady has the goods? They make fun of him because he says he presses the spam button on mesh. He runs it all the time. I just read a piece with Bill Barnwell talking about how he loves mesh. Mesh should be a part of every NFL offense, but he says Brady overdoes it, though. Like, Brady, he's doing it to create separation all the time, and that's not what you really want to use mesh for. It can't be the spam button. What's your confidence level? This guy has been under the microscope all year. The hot seat has been on for him. It looks like he's not getting that job at Penn State or anything like that. So it's really going to be down to the Bills wanting him back next year to be lead this offense. Yeah. What's your confidence level on, can Joe Brady dial up a passing game that is efficient and sufficient when it comes time? Because Houston, I know you like to say we lost by a toe on the outbound line, but that pass game was not working all day long. No. And yes, we were still good enough to be in it, and that's a credit to the team and McDermott's defense and yada, yada, yada. I get all that. There are times this season that we have not been able to throw the ball effectively, and I don't want it to rear its ugly head when we need it. I understand that we've done it a few times. I want to know, can he do it when we need it? Because you may be able to run James Cook all the way to Santa Clara. You may not. You may not. You may need Josh Allen to be Superman.
I think you do. I think you are going to need it, and I don't know. We've really only seen it once, this year where it was like needed and get up the field in that Buccaneers game to get the ball down deep. And
In the
so
Ravens
I
game
can't,
too. The
so
Ravens
I,
game too.
yeah, true. And so I can't sit here and tell you I'm super confident. I'm confident in Josh Allen and his abilities to make magic happen. And, and that could be, but in Joe Brady, I'm not confident this year. I mean, we're talking run, run, run. When we do pass, it's behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, Khalil Shakir, 62% of targets are behind the line of scrimmage, and they're not even at the line of scrimmage. It's 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, so we need 6 yards to get the 2 yards we actually need. I think in a misuse of Josh Allen in a way of I haven't said this on Nickel City all year, but one thing I kind of noticed and was talking about last week,
Mhm.
this behind the line of scrimmage passing game is not his skill set. Like, he doesn't have that touch. He's not a pure
Yeah.
quarterback in that. He doesn't have that nice little loft out to the
Yeah.
running back in space to give him that extra lead to get that screen in motion. It looks uncomfortable for him. The mechanics of Josh Allen behind the line of scrimmage, it's awkward, it's weird. Yeah, the ball's usually not where it's supposed to be, or it's in too hot, or I don't know if you remember the slant last week to Khalil Shakir, like on the goal line, and it was like Josh just put a 12 gauge through the dude's chest from point blank. It's just not where Josh Allen's comfortable, and so I don't like that. I want him to be confident and comfortable and hose it down the field. See somebody 10 yards. We need some more from Gabe Davis. If we brought him back, it's got to be for a reason, and it is a downfield situation. So we
Or
need to get up
Brandon
the field
Cooks.
more.
Lou's
The
asking about
question,
Brandon Cooks.
yep, yep.
You know.
The question of, am I confident in Joe Brady to turn on a passing game? Not this second, no. But I am confident in 17 being able to, the ability, and when in his hands, he's got to do it. And do we have the horses to do it? I don't know. But it doesn't seem like we have the horses to do the behind the line of scrimmage stuff either. And it's putting our all-word quarterback at a disadvantage in a skill set he's not great at. So I don't know, Rob. I'm not overly
You're not really
confident in
answering my
that.
damn
And
question.
you are right. You are right. You are right. We're gonna need it, and I'm not overly confident that we got it. But that's why I'm at right
confident
now.
in-
Maybe
I'm
today
confident in
changes that for
Josh.
us. Maybe
I'm
today changes that for them.
I'm confident in Josh. I'm not Brady. Just how I feel about him. I'm not sold on him, and because of that, and I read this. I literally, it was like Bill Barnwell was talking about like the guys, players and coordinators or coaches with the biggest to lose, to gain or lose at down the stretch of the year. And he names Joe Brady and talking about how this guy's he was a hot candidate and he was almost pegged for a job. It seemed like this year was just going to go, smooth sailing. And he's like, and things have changed now, you know what I mean? And I'm worried about Brady because of the fact that there's so much inconsistency. And the episode that you missed when we had on my boy Tone at OL Bills 22, he had talked about how, Brady is saving stuff for the playoffs and stuff like that. And I'm at a point now where I'm like, man, I almost need that to be true. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm almost like clinging to that hope. Like, well, man, is this true? Is this something that, but I just can't get myself to believe that Brady has been holding shit. Now, I understand not showing everything, but specifically holding stuff back for a playoff playbook. I have a tough time believing. I mean, maybe he has a playoff playbook and we're going to cruise to Santa Clara because he's getting ready to be one of the greatest offensive coordinators we've ever seen in the last decade. I just don't know. I agree. I agree. I have full confidence in 17. It's the coordinator that just he I don't know, man. I
think that's Fugazi. I don't think there's a secret playbook we're holding for the playoff, because even if that was the case, I wouldn't be about it, because now we haven't practiced it all year and you just want to pull it out in a playoff game.
Well, maybe
that's what
you say. Maybe they're practicing it, but we don't see it. And that was basically his premise. You weren't around that episode, but that was his premise, was that Brady is holding stuff back on purpose for the playoffs. And that's when he's going to unleash a whole different scheme that we haven't seen. And I just have a tough time swallowing that pill. I do.
I'm with you. I don't think that's a thing. I think this is the offense. This is what he's doing. And whether it's personnel and he doesn't believe in us getting downfield or what the case is, but we are going to have to see some sort of change. I mean, Dalton Kincaid back in the lineup just got the alert right now. Hopefully that helps. The last time he was in the lineup, he was dominant for us against the Chiefs. We're going to need him again today, and maybe that leads to a little more upfield movement if we are in a shootout situation. But I don't think there's a secret playbook, Rob. I think this is it, and I just hope the personnel gets a little better as we get into the end of this season to get it upfield when we need to.
Yeah, we'll see as we wrap up tonight. This afternoon, this morning. This is breakfast. This is brunch with the crew. I'm all thrown off. We rarely do game day pods, so we really appreciate all the listeners out there. We see you guys in the chat room and stuff like that. So we really appreciate you guys and your support. You guys can do anything before the game, so we appreciate you locking in and tuning in. Now, last thing, I don't want to spend much time on it. I'm ready to close shop. But I got into a couple, not arguments, but back and forth debates. This whole Slay thing, DT, I wanted to know what you thought of it because I didn't, not arguments, but Twitter banter back and forth. It seems to me that a lot of people are either they're one side or the other. F them, make them force them to retire, or I'm on a different camp, and I'm like, who cares? Now, I did get a great point last night. Somebody said, well, if you let him just go and you waive him, you're setting a bad precedent. And I didn't think about that. And he was like, these players agreed to this in the CBA with the Players Association, with the NFL. It's a bad precedent if you just drop Slay and let him get his way, whatever the case may be. When I heard him talk, I understood what he was trying to say. A lot of people seem to be offended by it, whatever the case may be, or taking it as a shot against the Bills Mafia and against the city of Buffalo. And I just did not read it that way. I read it as he's football old. He's not old, okay? We all know that. We all are not. None of us are idiots. He is football old. He's 34-year-old corner. He just got cut by the Steelers, and he doesn't want to move to Buffalo. Now, what would he be doing? He'd be living in a hotel. What's his role on the team? His role, he's a backup, and he's going to be break glass in a case of emergency. He's depth. We don't want to get caught with our pants down again. Benford goes out, last year in the AFC Championship, and all of a sudden you get, Kyer Elam getting toasted all over the field. So I get that they wanted a little bit of depth that was better than, Jamarcus Ingram or Dane Jackson, whatever the case may be. DT, where do you stand on this? Because, half the Mafia is like, fuck him, make him retire, this and that, and he's a baby, and he's whining. And I'm like, I didn't receive it that way. I received it as a grown man who is football old, who doesn't want to move to Buffalo. If he was going to do anything after he got cut, he wants to go back with his boys in Philly, or obviously or Detroit. I don't know, man. That doesn't get me all riled up, man. Just drop him, cut him, let him go. And everybody, a lot of Mafia saying fuck him. He does not deserve it because of the way that he's acting, and don't set that precedent.
I'm with you. Who cares, right? I mean, I love the move. I like the move in general because you said it best. I mean, we got AJ Klein coming off the couch to play in a divisional game, with us and against the best tight end in football at the time. And we lose that playoff game. We blame it on the injuries. Christian Bedford comes in, we get carved up. Cole Bishop playing back there, we get carved up last year when they go out. In this situation, yes, I would rather have a Darius Slay in the AFC Championship game come in the fourth quarter as opposed to a Jamarcus Ingram, a Cam Lewis, or whatever that is. So yes, right. I believe it was a good move in that sense. Him not coming stinks, I would have liked to see if it would have worked, if he would have, if it would have played out well for us, yes. But I'm not blaming him for it. It's not. He has never been a part of the Mafia. Never was a word about the Mafia until Wednesday. Now he's Bills Mafia. Now he's not. It's the same as Antonio Brown a few years ago, if that was ever real or it wasn't, right? But he's not that. He's not a premier player anymore, and he made the decision not to come. He has no ties to this organization. I think it was a decent pickup for that exact situation. If we needed him late in the playoffs, plug a guy in there with some experience. He might not make a play, but he's not going to get burned, right? And that's kind of what you're hoping. And maybe he thought he's not in a spot where he can't get burned, and he doesn't want to get out there and ruin his reputation at the end of his career because he just knows he's lost a step. Vontae Davis, rest his soul, quit in the middle of the game because he knew he just didn't have it. And maybe it's a situation of Darius Slay saying he doesn't have it. And I guess on the reverse side, if Bills Mafia is all pissed about it and he doesn't have it, wouldn't you rather that than him come and play? And then in the AFC Championship game, he gets blown out of the water because he's just a step off. And you're like, why did we sign this guy? He stinks. So whatever. It means nothing to me. And all the people mad that Jamarcus Ingram got claimed. The dude hasn't got a jersey in a month and a half. Like, come
Right,
on,
yeah, and they
like
knew that
chill
when they
out.
put him on waivers, like, they knew that they could lose him, so they were already
Yeah.
comfortable possibly losing him. Of course, Bean told them when they released him, "Hey, listen, sit tight, hang out at your house, don't go anywhere. We're gonna bring you back tomorrow after you clear waivers." They didn't probably expect him to get claimed. He got claimed by Houston, so good for him. He's gonna get some game checks these last couple weeks of the season, so that's good for him. I'm happy for Jamarcus that he gets a little bit of a bump in the raise. I just don't have much. I don't have much for the whole Slay thing where we're trashing him and he's a baby
Not an
and
issue.
make him retire or sit out. Like, you could do that. I just don't think that it's worth the publicity. Just let him go. If he wants to go play with Philly or Detroit, then let him just go play with his boys or whatever the case may be. Like, he wasn't going to factor enough here for us where I care enough, where I want to be the team that's, nope, you got to either play or sit out, and go retire. Like, it's just not,
This isn't an off-season
worth it.
we're not acquiring them in the off-season. We're not moving assets for them. We're doing nothing. We signed them off the street 2 days ago.
And I don't get it. But I mean, yes, I understand that we lost Jamarcus. I felt bad, but I am happy that he got picked up. So it's all good, man. And you're right. He wasn't getting a jersey. So it is what it is. Listen, as we wrap up tonight, this morning, this afternoon, listen, out there, Bills Mafia, enjoy the game today. DT, you and I are going to have to really have a conversation after this week. We're going to look at the AFC and see. I might have to come up for the Jets game. I don't want to, but I might have to. A lot will be known tonight after we see Houston and the Chiefs. We'll see, man. The Chiefs could be done by tonight, and then you got one less team to worry about. Obviously, Houston is on our butts, but you know what I mean? That's just something you got to deal with, and you just got to keep winning. So we'll see. Bills today, your prediction, do they get it done against the Bugaboo, Joe Burrow?
I think they do. I'm going to hang my hat on 9, still a little rusty, doesn't have the cohesion of a whole season with these guys, just kind of coming out and winging it might not be good enough for week 14. Sean McDermott's defense playing a little better. We're in that bend, don't break mentality. The pass rush loss will be big, but other guys got to step up, and I'm hoping that is the case. A couple turnovers at home, get the Mafia, the crowd into it. Cincy, I guess, would travel a little bit, but I think people are really digging in here to the last couple games at the Ralph. People don't want to miss these. It's going to be heavy Bills all day. The tailgate's rocking, as we've seen from Kenny and the squad, that it's ready to go. I think we got enough at home. I love that this game is in kind of a must-win at-home situation. They moved it from 4:30 back up to 1 o'clock. Again, right in our wheelhouse, or in all the tailgate people's wheelhouse. All the professional tailgaters out there know exactly how they need to feel when that flyover goes over at 1 o'clock. And I have faith in that. So faith in the Mafia, faith in the defense playing a little better. The offense, I think, has played great at home this year. Must-win situation. Little rusty Bengals. We get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Bills find a way to win. I am most nervous about the pass rush, and if Joe Burrow just sits back there. And I know that you're saying that he's rusty, whatever the case may be. He looked a little rusty. He also dropped some dots last week, as the kids say. That one in the corner to that one tight end, the Yoshivas touchdown. I mean, he is. I mean, he's a surgeon. He is surgical back there with that thing. So I am most worried about, we're not getting much of a pass rush. We only got Rousseau really to apply pressure. They might just chip him or double team him, whatever the case may be, with the line. And then Joe Burrow is just sitting back there and dissecting and throwing that ball all over the yard. I would be worried about that most, because then it's back to one of my original questions I asked you. Do I trust Joe Brady enough to match for match? And I know that he did it against the Ravens when he needed to. I know that he did it against the Bucks, but I would still be a little bit nervous about it. So that's where I stand on it. I think the Bills can find a way to win today, for sure. And we'll see. And I mean, it is what it is.
Yep, 9-4. No other way about it.
I love it. I love it, man. Listen, out there, Bills Mafia, enjoy yourselves today. This was a rare episode for us on a game day, but we appreciate you guys locking in with us. Shout out to all the listeners. We love you guys. Again, I won't shout you all out again, but Lou and Zach and all those guys, man, I really appreciate you guys for sure. Listen, spread love out there, not hate. Be safe today. Get home safe. Travel that weather. I heard there was an accident on the way to the stadium that was slowing up traffic. So everybody just be safe. You'll get there. You'll get your tailgate in and get home safe tonight as well. Let's get a Go Bills, DT. Hit them with a Go Bills. I mean, I guess we can get it. Get it?
Game day, the energy's different. We're live. We always get up. 1 o'clock's our shit. 9-4. Go Bills.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Go Bills. Oh, I love it. I love it.